What's going on, guys? Happy Glocktober. This is the 19th day of Glocktober. Today, when I'm recording this, may not be released on that day, but today we're definitely going to be talking about some pretty interesting Glock facts and stuff that you may not have known. This is 5 things you may not have known about Gaston's Glock. Stay tuned. Okay, number 1. Hold on, fix my camera. All right, there we go. Number 1 is that they do jam and malfunction. At the end of the day, this is a tool, and a tool just like a hammer, just like a air pump, just like any other tool, they can break. The parts can wear, they can malfunction, and they could not work. If you don't believe me, just really watch any mud test or anything like that, and you'll see exactly what I mean. Or the freezing test that Grand Thumb did, or just watch them put through any real paces. Yeah, they can survive really high round counts without any oil, but who really doesn't want to maintenance their pistols? Me personally, I maintenance mine every time I go to the range, every range strip that I have. So why would you not want to, or why would you want to get a gun that can last a long ass time without any maintenance? It beats me, but I guess most of these sit in a safe and collect dust anyway, so keep that in mind. Number 2. Oh wait, no, never mind. I still also with that point, you can also stack tolerances, and with new parts especially, stacking tolerances can also cause malfunctions, as well as, you know, the platform may not be old, but if you're switching parts from platform to platform, let's say you got a 17 and you got a 19, you need the parts from the slide or parts from the frame, whatever, and you keep switching parts back and forth, you know, stacking tolerances like that, or just wearing out parts. If you're using one slide for 4 different frames, and that one slide and barrel and extractor and ejector all have, you know, 15,000 rounds on them, then, you know, it's gonna wear out. Parts wear out. Lucky for you guys, point number 2, the aftermarket parts are huge. I would guess, and I have not researched this because I really don't script these videos, I really just be going off the top of the dome. I would say that the AR platform parts is bigger because it has more parts. As you can see, I actually have the mat right here. You can see all the parts that it has and stuff like that. That's not even including, you know, the red dots, the mounts, and like bayonet lugs and bayonets and all of that stuff. All the extra stuff that you can add, lights, lasers, all of that stuff. That's not even included on this, in addition to the Glock as well. But that's the reason why I think the AR is number 1 on as far as parts availability, accessibility, and just how big the market is. And Glock is number 2 because I believe that Glock is the number 2 most sold gun in the United States. I think number 1 is the AR because it is so easy to use and it is so plentiful. So many people make them, you know, so many different manufacturers as well. And Glock only really has one manufacturer. Now, I was thinking about including Glock clones like the Shadow Systems or the Lone Wolf in here, but I can only speak from what I have experience with. I have experience with P80s and Glocks. That's about it. I have shot a Shadow Systems. Go look at my channel. I have a kind of a comparison review where I shot it at the range, and it was okay, but I was gonna buy it. It didn't really stick out to me well enough to even buy it, to even purchase it. So, you know, keep that in mind, guys. I was going to talk about the triggers, but that really just gets into the parts. Like I said, these parts are interchangeable as well with within all the double stacks are interchangeable with double stacks. The 17, 19 slides and all of that stuff is pretty interchangeable. But if you want a more in-depth video about that, leave it in the comments down below. We'll talk about that later, possibly. It is the most sold pistol because of the name alone. It's just like Nike, Glock, or anything else. You hear them rap about Glocks and ARs in music videos, Glocks, ARs, and AKs. It's really not, oh, I got my Shadow Systems, or, you know, I got my 1911. You don't really hear that as often. I think rap has really popularized the name Glock itself. And with that, it really has, you know, developed a reputation for me having a bad trigger but being reliable. Just like the AK, they say that's super reliable too, but guess what? The AK break down as well. The AK needs parts changed too. Contrary to all popular belief, all of these tools need maintenance. Speaking of which, current oils that I'm using, this is for Eisener's Tactical. I'm using Hops gun oil for the oil, but I'm using CLP. It was a P right there, I swear. I'm using CLP for my cleaning and stuff. And to clean it, I don't use patches or anything like that. I just get like a pack of 100 of Q-tips, and Q-tips work better for me because they get into the smaller crevices and all of that stuff. So, and speaking of which, actually gonna take this one down. I don't know why I like doing this, but I just like taking my stuff down from time to time. I like taking my stuff off. Oh, I have this optic guard on here. I don't know if I told you about that. Yeah, optic guard. They're not a sponsor of the video, but I just like showing them off. And this is my ACSS Vulcan that I have on my current concealed carry of the day. All right, side note passed. Let's move on. Glocks are the most built. Now, what do I mean by that? I don't mean by the manufacturer. I mean by the people, like Polymer 80s, Strike Industry Slides, Lone Wolf. I know that they were going crazy because the fact that they were being sold in gun stores, and I bought a few in gun stores and gun shows as well. In my state, they're legal to buy in 80% form, and I did. I was gonna buy one, I was gonna order one online, but I seen one in person for the same exact price. So I was like, you know, why not just buy one in person and see how it goes? And the first one I actually bought was a AR 80%, and that did not turn out well. But I invested in the Glock frames as well, and yeah, I think they turned out pretty great. I got them working and stuff. It is a trial and tribulation kind of thing, but once you can get it working, you got it working, and you got it working. So I think that they were pretty cool, and the fact that they're being sold in gun shows and all of this stuff just shows that they do have a market for them. If they weren't, then they wouldn't be sold at all in these shows. So that just goes to show they are selling well, because I've requested for some stuff to be sold in gun stores, and they was like, nah, it's not gonna sell. It's such a niche market. But I think that's why they're being targeted so much by the government, because they are so big and they're trying to gain back control. Because at the end of the day, if they wanted to, they can see if you do a background check on this stuff. That's why they want to push the background check so much, is because they want to be able to monitor what people have, where they're buying it from, who they're buying it from, how they're getting it, how much it costs, how much they spending, what's their budget on, how much ammo they got. But that's why they're trying to do background checks on ammo. What purpose does that serve? That's a complete side note. But what purpose does a background check on ammo serve? Right? Anyways, that's why I think they're trying to crack down on these 80%, and I'm really curious to see how the Supreme Court case goes. But they're just gonna make another workaround. Like, you can't stop the signal. Once it's out, it's out. Like, Cody Wilson should be a very prime example of this. Once the signal is out, the signal's out. You can't really stop it. So I would say they just need to leave us alone for real. Let us do our thug dizzle. It's never been illegal to make your own weapons in the United States. So if they're gonna say that, is it illegal to make a bow and arrow out of a stick and a string? Like, what's next? Where do we draw the line? Anyways, I got on a side note there, but they have always been legal to make and they will continue to be made regardless, even if we have to do a background check on the frame, which we don't. They'll just make the modular thing, like the P320, the fire control unit will start being modular, so that they can just start doing the background checks on just the modular thing and then buy different grips and slides. So they'll have one fire control unit with 15, 16 different, that's what I'm saying. It's always going to be a workaround. They can't stop it. The Supreme Court is going to eventually figure it out, that they can't stop us from making our own. Plus, you can 3D print them now, so you definitely can't do no background check on that. How they going to know what you're 3D printing in your garage, Anyways, these are, I think, the most made because they're so easily made. The frames themselves are easily made, and then you could just buy a completed upper and get it sent straight to your door. You can get these sent straight to your door too as well, but Supreme Court's fighting that. We're fighting that in court and all of that stuff. So the lowers is kind of in limbo right now, but the uppers for sure. But even if you got to do a background check on the lower, it's not that much. You can get a lower for like $50, so it's not really a big deal, to be honest. As long as you can pass the background check, you can buy one. So these will continue to be built and continue to be the most built pistol in the world, and the fact that you only need like a small jig that's plastic polymer just makes it easy for real. The 1911s I think are better because you have to put in more time, more measurement, more I would say attention to details. With these, you just drill the hole, slap the parts in, bada boom, bada bam, forget about it. No, it's not easy, ATF, if you're listening, but it is easier than most other projects that you can complete in pistol platform. But I digress. And the last but not least, the Glock platform is the most talked about platform, my opinion, in the United States, if not in the world. Just because the good, the bad, the ugly, they're always getting pressed, always used in crimes, always used in defensive shootings, always used in tests, always used in demonstration videos. They're always being upgraded. I got a new slide plate, I got new sights, I got a new tungsten spring, new tungsten weight, new slide stop. This mag release is revolutionary. This new trigger, I got this new light, this new rail, this new binary trigger, this new binary trigger slide from Franklin Armory that just released yesterday. Like, they're still releasing stuff for this. They have so many different options for this. It will never not, in my opinion, be talked about because it'll always be upgraded. And if Glock started listening to the people, it wouldn't be it. They would kill the aftermarket market. I mean, they have the ability to make recoil springs and recoil rods. Have you ever heard of a tungsten OEM rod? No. Why? I have no idea. You know how much recoil that would reduce? Or, I mean, why do they have the plug in the back, but they don't have nothing to go in the plug? They don't have no weights or nothing like the SIGs do. I never understood that. Why don't they actually partner with Magpul to officially make some Magpul Glock mags? Officially, like OEM. Mines have never jammed, always worked fine. Why? Because they need metal in them? Why? The grip itself barely has metal, and these polymer ones save weight. Stuff like that, I just, it's always going to be nuances and disagreements, agreements, arguing about this, like why it's better, why we can make it better, who has the best one, the rolling specials, you got the 19X's and all the different types of builds and projects and all of that different stuff. I actually have one that I hope is done by the end of the month, but we'll see. Stay tuned for that. I got a really, really, really interesting concept build that I'm working on, and it's going to be like nothing you've ever seen in the world. I can guarantee that because I came up with it myself. Anyways, it's always going to be the most talked about. The fact that they have a whole month in the gun community, Glocktober, where people just talk about Glocks on YouTube is pretty dope to me. The idea that they're so talked about that they can say the month just because it sounds like Glock, that just fascinates me. And I wish I would have participated in this earlier in the years when I had more and before I started getting rid of guns and stuff like that. But I digress. You don't know what you know until you know. But I'm ended on that. This has been 5 things that you did not, possibly, maybe, quite frankly, I don't care, know about Glock. Stay tuned for the next one. We got more coming, so stay tuned. Peace.